Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. You know, for a game called Final Fantasy, they sure did make a lot of them. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including the Switch Online service and that Nintendo Direct. And then on Thursday, come back because we are going to be talking about the new Labo vehicle kit. But in the meantime, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I have iOS 12 downloaded on my phone. I feel like a brand new person.
Now, I haven't done this yet. When was that available?
Yesterday morning.
Okay. Is that something that you do like first thing as soon as you know?
I mean, I've been running the beta, so like, but yeah, I do it immediately. As soon as like, I am really anal retentive about stuff like that, like in a way that I'm sure is not fun for other people. But like, I check the App Store multiple times a day, just like out of habit.
Just like to see what's on there?
No, just to like. And then download
see
updates.
What it's like?
And then to download like the newest versions of apps. It doesn't make any sense. It's like my smoking, my like lame version of smoking. It's just a habit I have.
Yeah, I mean we all have some lame habits like that, right?
For sure.
I can't think of what any of mine would be, so we'll just
well,
move
but I mean,
on.
you're perfect.
Well, that's right. Speaking of perfection, you can follow us on Twitter, which is probably the biggest waste of my time. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nincart Society. You can get us on Facebook. We are just Nintendo Cartridge Society there. You can also email us directly, emails that we read. And that email address is nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And you can write to us just like Dustin did about last week. Mark, do you remember when we were talking about the new Build-A-Bear Pokemon, the Alolan Vulpix? And I was like, huh?
Right, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and you were like, I've never even heard the word Alolan. And I was like, you played all of Pokemon Sun or Moon. I forget which. Dustin wrote in with a little bit of information, said, I actually have some insight into why they picked this random Pokemon for Build-A-Bear. My kids love the Sun and Moon anime, and one of the main characters on the show has an Alolan Vulpix that is prominently featured. Just FYI, and saving you a Google search that I'm sure you are absolutely planning to spend your time on to answer this super important question.
You nailed this, Dustin.
You nailed us.
Patrick was poised to Google it.
Yep.
As he was reading that email, and then he stopped.
Right. And the thing is, I have read this email before, and I read it, forgot about it, and was like, you know what, I should look it up in the middle of this show while we're recording.
But actually, Dustin, thank you, because that makes a lot of sense that it would be like featured in the anime. I forget that the cartoon is an like ongoing concern.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like I think about the cartoon as though it is a thing from the 90s. And I know that is not the case. It is also a thing from the 90s, but it has since become a thing from the now always. Mark, what else can people do with that email address?
You know, if I were them and I had not yet borrowed your copy of Sonic Forces,
yeah,
I would send my mailing address
to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And hopefully get to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces. It just came back to me today, so it is going to go back out on the road again tomorrow. So, yeah, if you want to get on that list, email us and give us your address. I promise that there's nothing weird about it. Right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing weird about it. And then you can borrow it. I don't remember you borrowing my copy of Sonic Forces. Did that happen?
No, that did not happen.
Okay, I see.
I got to put my name on the list.
You do have to put your name on the list, and then, we'll see when it comes in and when we can get it to you. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Pursuant to our topic of Thursday's episode, we have been playing with the Nintendo Labo kit number 3. The
Labo.
Labo! I didn't know we were going to spell it. These are things you should really run by me
Maybe it's
first.
just maybe that'll be like a new feature.
Oh, that we just spell random things as we're going? The vehicle kit, former guest on the show, Richie Root, came over and helped us assemble. Not because we needed him to help us assemble it, but it was just nice to have another person around. And we like Richie. And then we played some of that, but we will get into that in more detail on Thursday. I have also been playing Overcooked 2. Which is essentially more Overcooked.
Now, you were very excited for Overcooked 2 when it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
And did you buy it at launch?
No.
Or around launch adjacent?
Here's the thing. The only way I can really play Overcooked is with Sarah, right? So when she is like here and interested in thinking about it, that's when I bought Overcooked, right? Like I need her to be here to be like, yeah, let's do it. And since we bought the game, it has been most evenings, do you want to play Overcooked? And I can play games some evenings, not all. So we got into it real deep on Sunday and have like plowed through most of the levels. She also won't move on until we've 3-starred something. It's not like it's a stressful experience playing Overcooked with Sarah. I love it and it's great and the game is a ton of fun and she's a doll, but it is a high focus, high energy gameplay experience. My eyes water the whole time I'm doing it.
Because you're not blinking?
That's right.
Is it more Overcooked?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are more recipes and different recipes, and you can now throw raw ingredients, which is fun. And obviously all of the levels are different, and there are new chefs and stuff. But it plays the exact same way, which is what I would want from a sequel to Overcooked. There is that little bit there of like, this is more of the same game that I really like. But, why does it not? It just doesn't feel like the new, fresh, crazy thing anymore because I've already played Overcooked. Mark, have you had an opportunity to play anything this week?
Nope. Labo was my gaming respite.
that was it. It was just Labo. All right, let's move into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
All right, today, September 18th. Labyrinth of Refrain, Covenant of Dusk, Mutant Football League, Dynasty Edition.
Now, is Mutant Football League different from Mutant League Football?
I think it is like inspired by, shall we say? I think it's like a copyright get around.
Now, could we do that if we wanted to, instead of ripping off the National Football League, just be like National League Football?
I mean, we're technically ripping off Nintendo's name in our
Great point.
in the name of our podcast.
Great point.
Without permission. Nobody tell them unless they want to send us free stuff. Okay. This is a bit of a bummer because it never happens in this segment, but we were wrong about something.
What on earth were we wrong about?
So last week we were like, Torna, the Golden Country's coming out, the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And it did, but only for people who had the season pass for the game. But on
the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Correct.
Yes.
But on September 21st, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country is coming out for everybody. It's the standalone retail release. Is out on the 21st.
So you can buy it on a little card and put it in your Switch.
Or you can
download it.
Or you can download it without buying the season pass. That's correct.
Now, Mark, I can't help but notice that you skipped over a September 18th release date.
Oh my gosh, Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I'm excited about Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, but we will talk more about that.
Oh,
when we
and
get to
Undertale.
Undertale! I'm very excited for Undertale. I'm going to pick it up first thing in the morning and maybe even drag my Switch to work with me. That's right, I drag it. I just put it on a string and behind me riding my bike. No, I'm very excited for Undertale, and yeah, that's I'm also excited about Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, but again, we will get to that.
Yeah,
in a
we'll
second.
get into it, but I am very concerned with the amount of money that
Yes.
I'm going to be spending this fall on Nintendo products.
Yeah, and on through 2019. Frankly, it's gonna be a nightmare. There are, and we'll get to it, of course, when we get to the Direct. There are 2 more Nintendo Switches that I'm interested in buying.
Crazy.
That's insane. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, September 21st, is the Banner Saga trilogy is coming out on Switch. Is there anything on here that you are gonna pick up probably here, Mark?
I'm interested in Undertale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when I'm going to be picking it up because I hate having a backlog.
Right.
And I
And you
just
currently
don't
have
know
a
when I'm
backlog.
going to play games in general. And
Mhm.
so it just seems like spending money on a game I don't know when I'm going to play isn't a great plan. I know I'll end up doing it anyways.
And then you can just come over and play the Smash Mouth, the Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle with me. Right?
Perfect.
You want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, let's get out of the new releases, Mark. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, we are talking today about movie snacks.
What's your go-to?
So I don't think I am good at movie snacks. I'm not excited by movie snacks. But for the most part, if I'm at a movie theater, I will go for the box of Bunch of Crunch. I don't know. I don't find it satisfying ever. I don't even really like it. But I guess I've determined it to be like the least offensive of like candies or whatever that I can have in a movie theater.
What is Bunch of Crunch?
So it's like a Crunch bar. But like broken up into little balls. It's just like the crispy
like
rice
clusters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
What are you're a popcorn guy? Are you a popcorn
Not
guy?
really. I'm not really a popcorn guy. If the theater has Sour Patch Kids,
Yeah, then you're
I
there.
will be tempted. However, if they have Sour Jacks,
I have heard you express this to me before when I said I'm going to get some snacks. Do you want anything?
I'm pretty sure I've said possibly this exact same thing.
Yeah. Tell me what's wrong with Sour Jacks.
Oh, they're gross.
Oh, okay. How do you feel about Sour Punch straws
I like them.
and the Sour Punch watermelons?
I don't know that I've had those because there are Sour Patch Kid like watermelon shaped things.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
those I. Those
It's not like
I
a watermelon sized thing that you have to like slice open. Slice it in half, scoop some out, fill it with vodka.
I pretty much like Sour Patch Kids, like in any permutation.
It is a good brand of sour gummy candy.
There is Sour Patch Kids gum that is
Huh?
sugar free, and it's yeah, and it's ideal because I love candy, but I try not to eat it very much.
Right.
And so the Sour Patch Kids gum is like the perfect candy substitute
Wait,
because you get that like
it's
Sour Patch
sour
Kids
gum?
flavor. I mean, it has a little bit. It's not really like sour because Sour Patch Kids aren't that sour.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they've got that. They've got a little bit of sour, but it's almost like that, like cutting sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Where like, did I eat Sour Patch Kids or like throw a handful of razor blades in my mouth, and it's a little sour? I feel like that's the experience.
Yeah, like exactly. And I try not to eat candy all that often. But in movie theaters, I'm like, I deserve this.
Yeah. Well, you're sort of like, I'm already treating myself to something extravagant. I'm
Mhm.
paying for a movie ticket in LA, which is ridiculous. I had to park somewhere with a big parking structure. I had to pay like $8 for that. I may as well also eat some candy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a child being like, obviously always getting some sort of candy at the movies, and then judging how I felt about the movie by how much candy I had left at the end of it. Like, I remember very specifically seeing Hook and having Sweet Tarts. And, this is when the Sweet Tarts used to come in like that roll. And eating some sweet tarts as the movie like started, and then being so wrapped up in it that I stopped like a third of the way through. And then at the end, I was like, I like that movie so much, I still have 8 sweet tarts left. I don't think that should be my rating system.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good system.
Yeah, that's how you know how wrapped you were with something. Do you do movie snacks at home if you're watching a movie at home?
Not really, but I'm also weird about watching movies at home.
Tell me what you mean.
I don't like watching them during the day. I don't want to like I don't want to sit down and watch a movie when there's light outside. And not because I'm an active person who's like, well, I guess we'll never know.
I guess we will. In fact,
maybe I am an active person.
I think we know the answer to that one. We were accompanied today by an ensemble called Cage Against the Machine. Mark, that was a new recording of 433 for us.
I love it.
All right, let's get into the news.
It happened last Thursday. There was a Nintendo Direct.
Is this the title of your one-man show?
It'd be a pretty good one-man show.
It wouldn't be. I would go. Not just because it's yours. Yes, I would go to your one-man show.
Listener, we would go to your one-person show as well, just FYI. We love one-person shows.
We've been to a bunch together.
So this was, of course, going to happen 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the earthquake in Japan, it was rescheduled, happened last Thursday. Boy, oh boy, was this a Nintendo Direct.
There's a lot of stuff in here, and I think we should start with the most controversial piece of it, with the Switch Online service.
Man, I'm already bored by the quote-unquote controversy around Nintendo Switch Online.
I am too. Let's plug through what the actual presentation of it was, and then we'll get to the controversy. Yawn about it when it comes up, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so online play, of course, is a feature of Switch Online service.
Yeah. Of course it is. That was sort of my favorite part of the whole presentation, was like 45 seconds of them showing you people playing online games together.
Yeah, games that you are already playing online for free right now. And look, I have no problem paying for
a
Nintendo
service that
Switch
you were
Online
getting for free for a year.
Yeah, like they were upfront from the very beginning that, that was not always going to be true. And, for people who have bought the Switch recently, they haven't had it for as long, but it's like, it felt a little redundant to me to be like, and here's Splatoon 2.
It's maybe the single silliest point of the presentation. But if this is one of the points of controversy, and I think that it is, people saying that this is a service that we had for free before and now we had to pay for it, I don't have any sympathy for that.
I don't either.
I don't care.
I do not care. Then the Nintendo Entertainment System aspect of Switch Online,
yes,
was talked about a little bit. So NES games that can also be played online.
Mm-hmm. And it is important to note that they are branding this thing as the Nintendo Entertainment System online. So we should not expect to see a Super Nintendo game pop up on here.
That's right.
That will be a different kind of service or whatever.
And we also learned that you'll be able to. It seems like the library of games only requires you to check in with the online aspect once a week. Mm-hmm. So it seems like you can download them and then just play them. You don't always need an internet connection, which was one question we had about before this was all shown, is how was this going to work? How was the Nintendo Entertainment System aspect of it going to function? Yeah,
because my assumption was, are we streaming these games? And it doesn't sound like we are. It sounds like we are downloading them, and the key just needs to be verified every week, which is a little bit inconvenient for a system that is ostensibly a handheld for a lot of people. But I don't know. This is another thing that I'm sort of bored by anyone being upset about.
Yeah, I feel like if in the modern world, the likelihood that you're not going to... Well, it's hard to get online with the Switch at Starbucks because there's no way to join public Wi-Fi. But yeah, I feel like the times where this is going to be a huge inconvenience are really small. So they promise a growing library of NES games.
Yep.
And it kicks off with soccer, tennis, Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, Dr. Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers 3, Double Dragon, River City Ransom, Ghosts and Goblins, Tecmo Bowl, Gradius, Pro Wrestling, Excite Bike, Yoshi, Ice Hockey, Patrick, and baseball.
I am unreasonably excited about Ice Hockey being in this lineup from the get-go. Ice Hockey was one of the few games that was not on the NES Classic Edition that I was like, that game should be on the system, along with, I guess, Castlevania 3. Like, those are the two big missing ones as far as I'm concerned. And man, I am very much looking forward to being able to play Ice Hockey online with my buddy Pete. Like, that's, if this Nintendo Switch online service offers me nothing else other than play Ice Hockey online with Pete, I'll pay the $20 a year for it. I don't care. That's worth it to me.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm really, in a weird way, like, I'm excited that you are excited about it, because looking at this list for me, it's like, I'm super excited about being able to play Super Mario Brothers 3 on my Switch.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of it. But again, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I think there are a lot of fun games here to like hop in on and maybe not spend any like real time in, like River City Ransom or Double Dragon. And the Pro Wrestling is cool. It'll be neat to like have access to that game again. Yoshi, it's a puzzle game I've never actually played. So there's a lot of games here that, even if I'm not interested in like sinking a bunch of time into and won't make, grand declarations about I'd pay $20 a year to play that game with my friend, that I would be interested in hopping in and checking out for the first time ever.
Yeah, and kind of the really fun thing about this service to me is that this library is always going to be growing. And so we've talked about in the past, there were a lot of NES games that I never had a chance to play.
Yeah.
So, like, as this library grows, like in October, the game Solomon's Key is coming.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a weird Zelda-esque adventure-y kind of game.
Like, cool. There'll be an opportunity to play that. Also in October is NES Open Tournament Golf and Super Dodgeball.
Great.
And then November, they've promised Metroid, Mighty Bomb Jack, and Twinbee.
Don't know what Twinbee is.
And then in December, Wario's Woods.
Yeah!
Ninja Gaiden and The Adventures of Lolo.
And actually, December, all of those games are great. The Ninja Gaiden is obviously available on the NES Classic Edition, so that one's a little bit fresher for me. But The Adventures of Lolo is a pushing shapes around puzzle game that I loved as a kid. And then Wario's Woods is an amazing like Tetris style game where you control Toad at the bottom of the screen, picking up stuff and like stacking them up on top of each other. You fight Wario, you fight Birdo. It's perfect. The game is so good.
And then in addition to like the online features, the games will also have a suspend feature. Is that right? Did I say that word right?
Suspend?
Yeah.
Suspend.
It didn't sound
Suspend?
right. Turn it into an acting
Suspend.
exercise. And then HD resolution. This is really cool, and I think it's exciting to think about where this could go.
Yeah.
In the future.
I hope that these games have the same, and I assume that they will have the same like attention to quality of emulation that the NES Classic games do. They all look beautiful in high resolution. Well, I guess we haven't seen anything about like screen filters or anything like that, but this is all stuff that we will see shortly.
And then the next feature of Nintendo Switch Online that they talked about was save cloud data.
Yes.
So your save data for most games, like we talked about last week, not all games are supported, are automatically backed up in the cloud. And then
this is where the controversy pops up, right?
If your subscription lapses, then after an unclear amount of time, the cloud save data is deleted.
Right. So I believe the cause of the controversy is people are imagining the following scenario. They're imagining that they've got their cloud backup, their subscription ends, they don't renew it, and their Switch is destroyed somehow during the time that they are not subscribed, and they try to get their save back and they can't.
I don't care.
This is a specific scenario.
I do not care.
Which would be a bummer. It would suck if that's
For sure.
if that's what happened to you.
100%.
But also, like, it's automatically backing them up, and then like $20 a year. Like, who cares?
Well, and yeah. And
also,
like,
the assumption. I'm sorry to hop on what you're saying. The assumption is that they are going to be deleting the save data the second you stop subscribing, and no outlet from Nintendo has said that. They've said after your subscription ends, then your save data will be deleted. But like, no one knows what the timeline is for that now. People are like, I don't. Mark,
it's also
it's
also unreasonable to expect Nintendo to hold on to your save data indefinitely.
Yeah, I mean, evidently, PlayStation and Microsoft hang on to cloud save data for 6 months after a subscription lapses, which is generous, but you pay 3 times as much for that service.
Well,
so like, just pay 1/3 for the Do you know what I mean?
I am so soul weary
like
of this quote unquote controversy.
The time to money thing, it just doesn't. Just subscribe to the service.
Deeply
bored.
Do not care.
Yeah. I mean, also, and this is something that you were driving at, is that even though your stuff is being backed up online, it's still on the Switch.
Yeah.
So, like, if your subscription to the online service ends, your backup data might go away, but like your Prime data is still on your Switch. And then when you do resubscribe, it's going to be automatically backed up.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
And then the smartphone app.
Okay.
The less said about, the better. I forgot that I had it on my phone.
Do you
until
still?
it updated recently. Yeah. Because I don't have a good reason. There's no good reason to have it on my phone.
Because you're obsessive about the phone. We've been over this.
And then special offers. That's like the final feature that they touted. And again, I was ready to be like, huge eye roll. Yeah, we've all seen how Club Nintendo, how awesome not that has been. But then afterwards, did they talk about it? Oh, they did talk about it in the Direct. They showed off these sweet Switch NES controllers.
They are so sleek. Let me tell you what, Mark, they look like NES controllers.
With like a little Joy-Con rack at the very top, so you can slide them into your Switch to charge.
In fact, you have to. There's no other way to do it.
They're available. Okay, so Nintendo Switch Online launches today, and these NES controllers are available for pre-purchase today. The way it works is you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online account, and then you order them now, and Nintendo is saying that they'll be shipped out in December.
And it's $60 for the pair. And the controllers can only be used to play the NES Online or what Nintendo Entertainment System Online games. So even though you might think, hey, this would be perfect for
Breath of the Wild,
or maybe I can play
Splatoon 2.
There you go. With an NES controller, you're not going to have that opportunity, even though it makes perfect sense. You don't need any more than 2 buttons to play Breath of the Wild.
They're $60, which again, this is just one of those things I'm like, oh, I can just see the money flying away.
Right. It also seems like something I feel like I don't have a choice on.
Oh, no, I am 100% getting these.
Yeah.
Like, when they showed it in the Direct, I was so excited, but I was also like, this is a little unfair because they know exactly what they're doing. This is kind of cool. Japan, it makes total sense, is getting Famicom controllers.
Perfect.
Those also look great. Yeah, so that was pretty much it for Nintendo Switch Online. It is out, or like it is up and running right now.
Right. It should launch the same time that this episode launches. So we have a lot in common with the Nintendo Switch Online service. By the way, you will be billed $20.
And then they did a short section on 3DS games. And when the Direct was announced, they were saying 3DS and Switch games. I don't know. I guess I was expecting a little bit more 3DS games, but since it's not a system I'm playing all that often anymore, I was fine with like the amount that was announced.
I would have liked, I think, a little bit more, but let's get through the announcements and we'll see how we feel about them.
So Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Yep.
The game originally released on the Wii is being ported to the 3DS, so it has all stages from the Wii version.
Which seems like a weird thing to mention. Like, if a game is being ported somewhere, that they're like, it comes with all the stages. Like, well, I would assume that it would.
And then also some new abilities like grabbing multiple enemies to create giant yarn balls.
Great.
There's also a devilish mode where you outrun like the speed demon, and some new mini games that let you play as King DDD and Meta Knight. It seems like a really full package.
Yeah, and I liked that game a lot. I 100%ed it with Sarah. I don't know that, like, for me, that game was the most fun it could possibly be when you're doing 2-player simultaneous, getting in each other's way, helping like throw each other up onto ledges and stuff. So I don't know if the necessarily more single player version of it on 3DS is really going to be what I want. But I'm happy that it's coming to another platform. I like that game.
And it's coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also gave a little more detail on Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey,
including a release date,
January 11th, 2019. Last year, the first quarter, or I guess this year, the first quarter of the year was pretty light for Nintendo releases, and that does not seem like that's going to be the case this year. But again, we'll get into it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Bowser Jr.'s Journey seems identical to the Bowser Minions game from the remake of Superstar Saga.
Yeah, at least in terms of gameplay, that it's like you assemble a team of Mario enemies and, match up their strengths against your opponent's strengths, and they sort of just go to battle against each other. It's not quite menu-based combat, but it is like setting a team and fighting them against each other.
Also, the Koopa Kids seem to have like a maybe big role in this game.
I did not really dig the story in the first one of these, the Bowser's Minions. But if they're just taking like that gameplay and putting a skin on it that is the Koopa Kids like harass Bowser Jr., like I am there for that.
And of course, listeners will remember when we ranked the Koopa Kids.
Yes,
that Roy is of course the best Koopa Kid.
He is obviously the best Koopa Kid.
And then Luigi's Mansion for 3DS is coming October 12th, 2018. And this is a remake of the GameCube game, and it seems like it takes some of the GameCube's
flaws?
Yeah. Because the frame rate looks kind of as choppy as it was on GameCube.
Yeah, which I guess is to be expected if it's the same game.
But they added a 2-player co-op mode.
Weird.
It was super surprising. If both players have the game, a sort of like kind of Slimer-esque version of Luigi can join regular old Luigi in the game. And then if only one player has the game, you can still play co-op in the gallery, which is seems to be like a boss rush mode with using download play.
Which is always fun. I have so seldom actually used download play on 3DS, but there was some time that you and I used it on that like River City, whatever it was called.
Whichever one of those it was.
Yeah.
And then there is amiibo functionality. The Boo amiibo reveals a hidden Boo. The Toad amiibo heals Luigi. The Luigi amiibo revives Luigi.
Yeah, and then it says each of the 4 compatible amiibo will have different effects.
I'm only counting 3 there.
I'm only counting 3. They miscounted the men, Mark.
And then they showed off Yokai Watch Blasters, which is out already.
And Mark and I famously don't care about.
And I have watched this, still don't understand what this game is. But they did talk about a Moon Rabbit Crew version coming out September 27th as a download for the current existing version. So if that means something to you, thank you for listening.
Yeah, and go get it.
Now, on to the Switch games.
Woo!
The Direct started with a teaser for Luigi's Mansion 3 coming in.
Working title.
Yeah, coming in 2019. That's all we know, but we, of course, all know one other thing.
What's that?
That I called it.
Yes, that's right. Mark did call this. How long ago did you say?
I don't know. I want to say maybe it was our E3 predictions.
That sounds
show
right.
that it first came up, but because like the Luigi's Mansion remake for 3DS. Sorry, I'm just gonna rap a little bit about how I nailed this.
No, please.
Okay, so when the Luigi's Mansion 3DS remake was
Mark's
made,
puffing up his chest.
You're like
popping his collar, putting on sunglasses. It's 9:00 at night.
Yeah, you're like, why are you doing this? This is random.
Mm-hmm.
But some of us had the foresight to be like, obviously, it's to get everybody ramped up for a third game in the Luigi's Mansion franchise. I nailed it.
Are you excited about this game? I feel like we don't know anything. Like literally, we don't know anything about it at this point.
Yeah, it seems like he can use the vacuum to jump. Maybe that's like as much as we know.
Yeah. We need more information.
We need more information.
Is all I'm saying.
For sure.
Do you think it'll be early 2019, or do you think we're going to see this around Halloween?
But yeah, I would guess fall 2019.
Okay.
They also showed off a big, confusing, like, music video thing for Splatoon 2 version 4. I feel like I learned nothing about what is changing in version 4.
Yeah, me neither. They showed off a lot of locations and weapons and gear, and I have to assume that some of them are new. All of them are new. I haven't really been plugged into Splatoon close enough to know if that's what's going on. There was one point where it flashed on the screen, mode, turf war, and then, ink more than your opponents. And then it said times 100 battle. What do you think that is, Mark?
There is something in this where you get like points bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like 10 times.
Oh,
or occasionally there have been rumors of 100 times.
Sure, of like experience points.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
They also kind of changed the way that Splatfest worked to try to make them more even.
Here's the thing that we will never understand these Splatfest numbers.
Don't. Yeah,
there's no transparency there. There never will be.
As part of this, the first new Splatfest is happening this weekend, starting on the 21st at 9 p.m. Pacific time. It's retro style versus modern style. I did jump into the game to play a little. I did have something to put into.
All right, well, let's go back to the top of the show.
No, I jumped into Splatoon 2 for a little bit to play some Salmon Run, and I decided I'm more into modern style. So that's the team I'm repping.
Interesting.
Where were
Mega Man 11 was the next thing that they showed off. October 2nd, the game is coming out. I wonder if they had a little bit in there when the thing was originally scheduled to be like, and the demo is available now. Demo's available last week. It's a great demo. I really enjoyed playing Blockman's level and getting through it, and watching people complain about how difficult it is online, because that made me feel like a big man, and I like that. They also announced that there's amiibo support. Both of the Mega Man figures, both like the new one and the like classic one from Smash, unlock energy tanks or other useful in-game items. So I will totally spam those.
Version 2 of Mario Tennis Aces is coming September 19th. It includes some new characters, plus a co-op challenge, like online co-op missions, and you can unlock secret outfits, which is something that we talked about wanting.
Yeah.
When Mario Tennis Aces was first announced.
Just a little bit more customizability to the characters, yeah.
They also said that they're going to continue supporting the game with new content through June 2019. So like, full year from release.
What pretty cool. I always forget, like outside of my one like long weekend with that game, I've only gone back to it I think once. But I like that game and I should play it more. It's a good game.
And I like that like more and more Nintendo games have this like 1 year, we're going to keep supporting it. Even games like Kirby, are Star Allies.
Yeah, there you go.
had to run through the list of Kirby titles in my head.
Epic Robobot.
So, and then they revealed Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle.
Yep.
Out today. It's 7 classic Capcom brawlers in one. So it includes Final Fight, King of Dragons, Captain Commando, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, the first time it's ever been on a console, and Battle Circuit, also the first time on console.
And it should be noted that these are all the arcade versions of these games, so even though we are on Switch and then a Nintendo console, this is not the Super Nintendo version of Final Fight, this is the arcade version of Final Fight. I know for sure because I saw a Guy in there, and Guy is not in the Super Nintendo version of Final Fight. I hope... so these have both local co-op multiplayer and online, which is great. I remember, and now I can only actually remember one of the games that was in there, which was Final Fight. There was a package like this on PlayStation 3 with just 2 games, and was a great way to just play some online style arcade style games with friends. And this is 7 games, including 2 I've never heard of. Captain Commando, I've only heard whispers of. I've never actually played. I'm very excited for this. I like these kind of bad beat 'em up brawler style games, especially when you can play them outside of an arcade and not just be shoving quarters into them the whole time. They're really fun.
Yeah, this also feels like the first generation where we are getting a lot of packages of retro games we haven't seen for a long time. I don't know if it's because it's like far enough away from when they were released that it feels like special.
Yeah, I wonder if it may be a combination of that and the death of the virtual console. That like Capcom isn't in a position where like they can make $7 or $8 from selling you Final Fight on the Super Nintendo, but they can bundle all these games together and sell it for like 40, 50, I don't know how much this game is, and actually give you something of substance and charge like a full price for it. And I think that is probably a better business decision for these people, because like, yeah, I actually don't want to buy Final Fight again, but I will buy it as part of a Capcom beat 'em up bundle. I'm there.
There had been rumors about this, and it's finally been confirmed. New Super Mario Bros. U is coming to the Switch on January 11th, 2019.
There's that January again.
In that new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe version. So it includes new characters like Nabbit, who doesn't take damage from enemies, and Toadette, who can power up with the Super Crown to become Peachette.
Mm-hmm.
She can double jump, float slowly, boost out of a pit. Basically, it seems like they've kind of taken the Funky Kong model from Tropical Freeze and applied it to New Super Mario Bros. U.
It's sort of in 2 different ways, right? Because Nabbit could fall down pits, and Peachette cannot fall down pits, but will still be hurt by enemies. Mark, do we need to? We probably don't have enough time to really dig into it here. What is Peachette?
Oh man, because when Peach wears this crown.
No, when Toadette wears this crown.
Oh, sorry. When Toadette wears this crown,
right,
she turns into Peach for all intents and purposes, right?
But there's like mushroomy parts to her, right? She's okay, and also like Peachette implies that it is the female version of Peach. Which, what does that mean?
I love it. I love it.
It's just crazy enough that I think it's amazing.
I'm wallowing in the confusion. This package also includes new Super Luigi U,
which is the sort of like almost time trials, ultra difficult version of the new Super Mario Brothers U levels, where you just had to play as Luigi. And it is punishingly difficult, and I will probably ignore it just like I did on Wii U.
I recently heard on Retronauts, the Retronauts podcast, they compared Japan's Super Mario Brothers 2, which we know here is like lost levels, like the difficulty spike as that between new Super Mario Brothers U and new Super Luigi U.
I followed the analogy, yeah. and it seems right to me.
Look, I know we played this game. We did an episode about it. I didn't own a Wii U. I am dying for some 2D Mario on Switch. I'm legitimately excited for this. Yeah. Hey, Katamari Damacy Reroll is coming this winter. Gyro controls, HD Rumble, Joy-Con battle mode. This was a fun surprise from Bandai Namco.
Yeah, and not one I was expecting at all. Did you ever play Katamari back in the day?
No.
Mark, me neither. So I think we need other people to tell us why we should be more excited about this. Because right now, I'm like, oh, cool. But I feel like there's excitement in the air. So if you are excited about Katamari coming to the Nintendo Switch, please email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and tell us why we should be excited.
Then we got a little bit of Pokemon Let's Go news. The game's coming out November 16th, which we already knew, but man, that does not feel far away anymore.
No, a lot of these dates that felt far away at some point now no longer feel far away.
Partner Pokemon learned the abilities to traverse the world, so like surfing, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Partner Pokemon learn moves only they can learn. You can pet your partner Pokemon and change its hairstyle depending on how you pet it. So basically, this is maybe the best game ever.
Probably.
And then Nintendo announced a limited edition Switch console with a theme dock and Pikachu and Eevee colored Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
So what it is on the front of the dock are like the bodies of Pikachu and Eevee, and then like the Joy-Cons kind of form their tails.
Right, and they look like the color of their tails, and they have like complementary. What are they called? The Joy-Con grips? No, I don't know what they're called. The things that like slide over so you can use the L and R buttons more easily. That sort of they're not the same color, but they complement them. The thing looks real slick.
It does look real cool. It's a interesting, like the Joy-Cons are an interesting color.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a dirty orange and like a mustard brown type thing.
Like I don't think they can be mistaken for anything but Pokemon colors.
Yeah, but it does look really cool when it's docked. It includes one version of the game. They didn't. Maybe you can choose. I don't know. They didn't really seem to delineate.
Yeah, and also sort of weird because in the past when they have released limited edition like 3DS versions to coincide with the release of Sun and Moon or any of the previous ones, they release them with both versions. So it's a little weird that on this they're like, no, you just get one.
And then it also includes the Pokeball Plus.
Cool.
Diablo 3 Eternal Collection is coming November 2nd. You can transmog armor that makes you look like Ganondorf.
Cool.
And then all amiibo are compatible.
All amiibo.
They summon challenging enemies for you to fight. Diablo 3 is one of those games that like I haven't played. I'm really excited to play, but I am nervous about buying it and never having a chance to play because it's one of those games where I feel like I'm going to be like, oh, I want to wait until I have, time to really dig into it.
Sure.
But yep, one of those things I'm definitely spending money on, even if I never play it. Super Mario Party, which comes out less than a month from now, October 5th.
This is another one of those where I'm saying it's coming out now.
All 80 minigames are brand new. There's a single-player challenge road mode and Toad's Rec Room, which you can use multiple Switch consoles. We kind of saw this at E3. It looks really slick. And then a Mario-thon minigame mode, which can be played online.
Mario-thon, perfect. Perfect name.
Guys,
good pun work.
This Direct was so packed with news that I feel like nobody is paying very close attention to the fact that Game Freak announced a new RPG, a totally new RPG for Switch, with the working title Town coming in 2019. It's an RPG that takes place in one single village.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this came out of nowhere and is really cool.
Now, this is the game where you, Ben Affleck, and a bunch of other guys rob a bank?
That's exactly what this is.
Perfect. No, Game Freak obviously, made their name with Pokemon and are huge because of that. But Game Freak also just makes incredible games. One of my favorite 3DS games, Pocket Card Jockey, is them, and it's stupid, but like the hooks are so good, and like the game has so much personality. And I'm excited for this game. I think it's gonna be good.
City Skyline is now available. I don't really have anything to say about that.
Perfect.
Daemon X Machina. We learned a little bit more about that game that was first revealed at E3. You acquire weapons and parts on the fly from defeated enemies, and then pop off the mech to explore on foot. 4-player online co-op. If you like mech games, this one seems pretty slick.
Mm-hmm. Cool art style too. I think that I didn't totally appreciate when we saw the trailer for it at E3. That this looks a little bit more like it feels very like Macross, very like Robotech. And like you say, very slick.
We hadn't heard about this Yoshi game for a while, but Yoshi's Crafted World is confirmed to come spring 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You can play courses forward and backward, and includes 2-player couch co-op.
So this is a what's the name of the studio?
Good Feel.
Good Feel, yes. And that sort of backwards and
maybe like so they were originally like on the trailer when the game was first announced, but now there's no mention of them, and this game was seemingly delayed, so maybe there has been a change. Nobody really knows.
Interesting. The whole backwards and forwards thing does make me think of Wario Land Shake It, where you played through the first part of the levels just sort of exploring slowly, and then when you got to the end you had to like race back to the beginning as fast as you could, and Wario's sort of like running at super speeds, and it's all just about like finding the most efficient path back. So if it is still in fact Good Feel working on this game, that they've got the sort of pedigree to make levels interesting both forward and backward.
And then Some tabletop games are coming to Switch, courtesy of Asmodee. Carcassonne has local 4-player multiplayer and paid DLC for add-ons. They're bringing Lord of the Rings: The Living Card Game, Pandemic, and some of the DLC for that game, or I guess expansion packs for that game will be available as DLC.
Right.
And then more coming, like Catan Universe and a dungeon crawler based on the card game Munchkin.
What do you think about this?
I love Pandemic.
Yeah.
I've never really played like a video game version of a board game like Monopoly or anything like that, so I'm curious to know how it translates. But I love the idea of this.
Yeah, me too.
Civilization 6, which was announced last week after the Direct was supposed to have aired.
Yeah.
But they did a little segment on that here. Starlink Battle for Atlas is coming October 16th, so another one that is coming really
close.
soon. They showed off a little bit of Starwolf.
Starwolf.
Like a cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like eating a bug or something.
Yeah. And then he's like, this is gross.
I believe that is dialogue directly from the trailer.
The World Ends With You is coming out October 12th. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to be spending so much money. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Torn of the Golden Country, comes out September 21st. Then Sizzle Real Time. Warframe gets a date, November 20th. Just Dance 2019 is coming October 23rd. FIFA 19, September 28th. Team Sonic Racing, sometime this winter. NBA 2K19 is out now. NBA Playgrounds 2 is this fall. Lego DC Supervillains, October 16th, 2018. We have just barely gone to the part where we're talking about Final Fantasy coming to Switch.
Let's just move right into that. Final Fantasy is coming to Switch in the form of 9 games.
First one is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. Includes online multiplayer, new areas inside dungeons. I owned this game, never played very much of it because I didn't have enough GBAs, friends, or link cables.
Yeah, so here's the thing with this game is that it was originally a GameCube game, right?
The first like Square Enix game on a Nintendo console for a generation.
Right. And it did you have to play it with a Game Boy Advance and the link cable to the system, or
I'm really not sure.
Sure. So I've seen like the diagrams of like 4 Game Boy Advances, 4 link cables, and a GameCube all together so that 4 people can play one RPG together. Hey, guess what? All of that's being smoothed away because you can just play online or play locally with people having their own Switches. I'm excited for this. I mean, first of all, just to see Square and Final Fantasy like paying attention to the platform is great, but also to have a game whose very conception was prohibitively weird and complicated, now totally smoothed out. Like the game's basically being given a new life on Switch.
We had talked about this last week, but Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD is now available on Switch at an introductory price. They announced World of Final Fantasy Maxima, which is coming out November 6, 2018. This is a game I don't know anything about.
Great.
Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, finally a Mystery Dungeon game on Switch. Very excited for this. Comes out this winter. I failed to mention that the subtitle for this re-release is called Everybody.
Buddy.
Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, is coming out in 2019.
Are you a Final Fantasy? Did you play Final Fantasy 12?
I did play Final Fantasy 12. I don't know if I'll get the remaster again, only for like time reasons, but I think 12 is a great game. And then Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, and 10-2 HD remaster, all coming in 2019.
It's so many Final Fantasy games.
Do you think that Final Fantasy 7 coming to Switch means that maybe the remaster will come to Switch whenever that's released?
No, Final Fantasy 7 Remake is never coming out on any platform ever. It's a fantasy, the final one, perhaps. No, I mean, I honestly don't think we'll see that game on current generation hardware at all. So maybe it'll come out on Switch 2, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. Maybe also 2. I don't know what they're going to call the next Xbox.
When's the last time you played 7 or 9?
So I tried to play 7, 9 years ago, and my friends and I got out of Midgar and stopped. But that's like 8 hours into the game. So, but yeah, I think if if it were available on a portable platform, I would dig. I intend to. Of all of these games, 7 is the one that I'm most excited to revisit on Switch. You're obviously into the Mystery Dungeon, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon game. What about you? What else on here is calling to you?
I'm interested in revisiting 10. It
Yeah.
has been many years since I have played 10.
I've never played 10-2. I mean, 10-2, the game that is 10-2.
Oh, yeah, I haven't either. I never played it at all. Gosh, this is like there will never be enough time for me to play all of these games.
I know.
But I kind of want all of them except for World of Final Fantasy Maximo, which I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean it looks like there's just a bunch of I can't believe it, right? There's so much support that the Final Fantasy franchise is bringing to Switch, and really, I mean the sort of the push here of Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, and 10-2 are also coming to Xbox. So like, you know, they're just pushing these games everywhere. But like, it's about time. Get these games everywhere, so everyone can play them. There should be no reason that you can't play any Final Fantasy game whenever you want. Speaking of 8, do you care that Final Fantasy 8 isn't on here?
I don't really.
Great,
not because I like despise the game.
Oh,
just
I
because...
harbor ill will towards Final Fantasy 8.
A hardware bundle for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced. I thought that we had already talked about this, but we had not. We had talked about like a deluxe edition that comes with a Pro controller.
Yes.
But this is something different. This is a like dock and Joy-Con that are special for Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It is unclear to me whether this comes with a Switch or not. They called it a hardware bundle and then don't indicate whether it comes with the Switch system or not.
I'm pretty sure it does, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't.
I mean, that would be my assumption as well. A dock and Joy-Cons, but no Switch.
So the dock includes characters from the original Smash Brothers, and then there's a download code for the game, Smash-themed Joy-Cons. It's kind of like that Smash Brothers logo, but stretched out across both. And then GameCube controller adapter and GameCube controllers will also be available, but not part of this bundle.
Right, and all of these are come out on November 2nd, which is a month and a couple days before the game itself actually releases.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is why they specify that you get a download code for the game.
So that way when the game is released. That's super smart. Black Friday, you get like the game can release, but that's really smart. And then we maybe get to the most fun part of the Direct.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy Direct. It's jam-packed with a ton of news. And then we get like a nice, perfect, like chill down hangout in Animal Crossing.
That's right. So we go into the mayor's office that you're familiar with because, of course, you have sunk hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing New Leaf. And you see none other than Isabelle, mayor's assistant, working hard while the mayor is gone, presumably fighting dudes in Smash Brothers. And then Isabelle, lovable, adorable Isabelle, gets an invitation to participate in Smash.
It's like the perfect reveal.
Yeah, it really is, because you don't know what you're watching.
Right, because, there had been rumors or whispers, and we all knew it was coming at some point, of an Animal Crossing on Switch. And so at first you're like, oh, that's exactly what this is. And then that she is a Smash fighter is just like a super fun reveal.
Yeah, and a totally insane character inclusion. I mean, the villager is also crazy that the villager would be in Smash. The Wii Fit trainer, like they're so good at putting characters in Smash that aren't violent. I just love that this version of Smash Brothers is introducing both Ridley, the giant killer's space dragon, and Isabelle, the like adorable dog. I love it.
And then after that reveal, there's another reveal.
Yep.
That just a straight up Animal Crossing game is coming sometime in 2019.
Yeah, revealed by showing us Tom Nook clicking around on his computer.
Guys, Nintendo's 2019 could be absolutely insane.
It could be like their 2017.
Because you have another Pokemon game coming out.
Yep.
You possibly have Metroid Prime 4.
Who knows? let's even take that off the table. You've got this Animal Crossing game. You've got this Luigi's Mansion game. You've got a Fire Emblem game. Did I say Yoshi already?
I can't remember.
And New Super Mario U Deluxe. There's a ton in 2019.
And that's only the stuff we already know about.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there was other Nintendo news this week that we're just going to touch on real quickly.
I don't believe it.
A recent issue of Famitsu revealed more Sega Ages titles being planned for Switch. The first wave hasn't even hit the system yet, but Sonic has already announced Sonic 2, or Sega has already announced Sonic 2, Outrun, Columns 2, and Thunder Force as the second wave. Columns 2 will feature online battles. The first wave of Sega Ages launches September 20th and includes the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Thunder Force 4, and Phantasy Star. And then a few months ago, we discussed Capcom experimenting with streaming games to Switch owners with Resident Evil 7 cloud version. This was exclusive to Japan. And last week, Ubisoft and Nintendo announced Assassin's Creed Odyssey cloud version releasing this fall in Japan.
That's nuts because, I mean, it's Ubisoft, so obviously they're throwing a lot of support behind the Switch. But Odyssey, that's a brand new game on par with it's on the other leading edge systems. It's crazy that they can stream that to Switches.
It's also really cool. To me, this is a business model that if it comes to the US, I would be so into, because the way they've been doing it in Japan is you only get the game for 180 days, or you can re-up your you can renew it, but it's at a significantly discounted price.
Yeah.
It's that's exactly what I want.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Especially for a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's a game that I will want to experience, but I don't need to have on my shelf or in my library forever. 180 days, that's half a year. That's way more than I need with any one of these games.
So I hope that these experiments for these cloud versions continue to be successful, and I hope that they find a way to expand it to the West, because I'd be very interested.
Yeah, so let's get that, just, get all those servers over here, or whatever it takes. Look, Mark and I aren't engineers.
We don't know.
We don't know, but, someone out there does. So, get on it, someone.
Do it.
All right, let's get out of the news. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, subscribe, and all of that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, share it with someone on Facebook or Twitter or real life. Tap the person next to you on the shoulder and say, hey, you should listen to this Nintendo show. Not sitting next to someone at the moment. That's fine. Maybe later you will be, and you can talk to that person, right?
Yeah, just remember to do it.
Just please remember to do it. It helps us out tremendously. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. The show is at Nin Cart Society. We're on Facebook as well, which easy to find there. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. If you like his music, you can get more at 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers. Being tired of the controversy. Thanks for listening.
Campfire.